Hey, it's Bergeron here with you, and today I'm going to do this little ink drawing on this piece of watercolor paper. If you're currently a subscriber, I thank you very much. If you're not currently a subscriber, please go out and subscribe to my channel and then come right back and watch me do this. Okay, hey, it's Bergeron here with you again, and we're looking at one of my favorite subjects again today. We're looking at the little barn. I call it the little barn down the road. It's a little barn on Clapperton Road here near Baltimore, Ontario. And I've done it a couple of different times. I've done it in graphite, which is a video I just did a little while ago. I've also done it as a fauvism painting, and I'll put some of these up here so you can see it. And I've also done it as a watercolor, which Janice Pierce won. So I'm going to do it today in pen with Sharpie pen and an ink wash. And so I'm going to start off today with just doing it in pen, and we're going to do a little thumbnail sketch over here on the side. And always remember FTE, focus, thumbnail, and edit. So I've been looking at this for quite a while. I really know what it is that I want to draw. I really know what it is that I want to paint on this particular subject matter. So I'm going to just really be super careful in every line that I put on the page, as I always am. But I've been asked a couple of times about do I ever just do it in graphite first? And I don't normally, but today we are going to. Today I'm going to just do a real light, super light drawing with a regular HB pencil, and then I'm going to do my Sharpie pen on top of it. So let's think about doing a little thumbnail first, as we should always do. So we focused on this little barn. We're thinking about thirds, right? The rule of thirds. You split the page up in thirds, left to right, 1, 2, 3, top to bottom, 1, 2, 3. These intersection points should be points that have something of real importance on it. In this particular drawing, you'll see that I usually have the road on the 1/3 line. Right to the left of that, I have this telephone pole, and I almost always put that telephone pole in a very similar place. And then I have my barn, which is going to be, smaller at the front, wider, I should say larger at the front, smaller at the back because of perspective. And it's going to look something like this. It has this little jut out, angle, roof, something very close to this. There's always going to be trees in the background here. We'll put up a picture of it again so you can see it. And then we're going to have our fence line around here somewhere. It's going to come on this angle. So remember, focus, thumbnail, and then edit. Whenever you see me do little corrections like that, those are my edits. That's me editing on the page. So let's get right at it. Let's split our page up into thirds. So there's a third, there's a third. There's no, I'm not measuring this. I'm just doing it by eye, figuring out where the thirds are, looking at where the intersection points would be. I know that this is the 1/3 line that I like to put the road on, and I usually put the road somewhere around here. And I'm going to make the road come back like this, and I'm going to make the road come back like that. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so just right of this 1/3 line is where I usually put the barn in. And so today I'm going to keep with that, and the closest part of the barn, not the jut out part, not the little addition to it, but the barn part, I usually put on this 1/3 line. So I'm going to draw that in really lightly with my pencil. But I'm going to draw a long line, way longer than I need it to be. And I know I want the barn to be sort of right around where this 1/3 intersection point is going to be. I want it to be just a little bit higher here. And I'm going to make it so that it comes almost off the page over to about here, okay? And it's going to come forward a little bit and forward. That's pretty simple. It's got an angle like this, an angle like this. The back is angled like that. Remember, I'm not doing all of this. I'm just doing some of it, because I'm going to draw this in black ink. But remember, we can erase all of this afterwards. This isn't quite straight, so I'm going to straighten that up a little bit. Straighten that up a little bit. There's a doorway. I think I got enough of the major things on here. Of course, there's the telephone pole that's going to go from about here to about here. I'm going to just put that in, just one single very light line that I can erase later. And then there's another telephone pole that's going to be quite a ways down here like that. Okay, that's all my major landmarks. That's all I'm going to do with the pencil. I'm going to put that right away. And I have my eraser here, so at the end I can erase all of those lines. Okay, well, let's get at it. So I think the first most important line, and I say this very often to people, you know, what's the most important lines to put into this particular drawing? If you had to just put in 4 or 5 lines, what would be the most important 4 or 5 lines to put on for this particular barn? And I think the most important line is going to be this one. So remember what I do. I put my pen down, I look to where I am, I look to where I want to go, I look where I am, and then I draw the line. Okay? Now, we don't have to do that too much here because we already have it all laid out for us. Okay? And this is the time where you can think about, is the lines in the place that I want them to be, or do I need to edit these to put them into a different place? I think this road right here is pretty much where I want to be. It might be a little bit wide, but I'm going to come back to that in a minute. I'm going to put the rest of the main lines in for this barn. Remember, look where you are, look where you want to go, draw the line. Okay? Pretty simple. Down on the bottom down here, I think I'm going to make this a little bit longer here maybe. And I'm going to make this, you know, sort of a doorway that's open like that. And there's a small window, and then there's a door, like a man door. And then there's a couple of longer windows. And I'm just going to put those in real lightly. I'm not going to darken them in too much right now. Okay, and then there's this. And then there's that. I'm not going to worry about the bottom of these because you really can't see that yet. I'm going to put in this road. It looks a little bit wide to me, so I'm going to make this a little bit narrower. Like that. And again, the telephone poles are, this post is going to come, I don't really like where that is. I think I'm going to move this slightly right here. And I'm just going to put that in as 2 fairly thin lines for now. And this one that's further back, I'm going to move this slightly right also. 2 fairly thin lines for now. I'm going to actually take this out right now because this is a little confusing. Okay, so I'm doing a ink drawing. I have in here all my major elements. I have in here where my barn's going to sit, where my posts are going to be, and where my road's going to be. I'm not worried about any of the other lines on the building right now. I want to just start thinking about where are all of these trees and where are the main pieces of landscape. So we know that on the right hand side of the road there's a little piece of um, land that comes off to the right. We also know at this side of the barn there's a little piece of a land that comes out like that, and back here we know that this is a little bit of a hill that goes up like that. We also know that there's sort of bushes on each side, like a lower bit of tree. I wouldn't even call it tree though, I would call it just bushes. And then in the background here we have trees that come all the way across here. So I'm going to put those in now with just some curved lines. I'm not going to complete them all. This is just a very preliminary sketch of where the trees are going to go here. Just like that. Real simple, not too complex at all. I'm going to use a little bit of this line right here because there's a little bit of gravel on the side of the road that kind of goes down into a ditch here. Actually, I think I'm going to leave that for a second. We have around each one of these doors there's a frame, so I'm just gonna put that in kind of roughly like that. For those of you that have watched me before, you know that I'm not really too keen on making this into an exact replica of the thing that I'm looking at. I'm more interested in making it into my version of this barn. And one of the things that I know about this barn is that at the bottom here it's concrete, and at the top up here it's barn board. This is a metal roof, and I'm going to signify that with some long linear lines, and I'm going to lift off lifting off at the end. Okay, this whole thing here is all metal. I'm going to do a very similar thing to that. I'm going to lift off, make a long line, and lift off. Keep them fairly even, not exactly the same, but fairly even. Remember, this is kind of a rough looking kind of a barn. Same with this roof here. We're going to make these on an angle. Long linear lines lift off. Okay, now what are we going to do about all this that's barn board? Okay, so the barn board is fairly close together. So we're going to make that a little bit different than the metal. We're going to put them a little bit closer together. And we're going to make them not quite as, linear and nice as these. They're going to be, some that are fairly different. Like this. Okay? Just all the way across there like that. And from the bottom here, you can certainly, do this. Coming up. Like that. You can stipple in here a little bit. Allude to the idea that it's wood, maybe with a lot of, holes in it. Right? Same here. Put a little bit of that on there. This across here is going to be the same as this. Okay, put a little bit. We're going to double up the line here, and we're going to just pull down from the top down, lifting off. Don't worry about completing the line all the way. Some places, if you want to make the line short, you can. Some places, if you want to make the line long, you can. Just vary it quite a bit. And then we're going to come from the bottom up, keeping it fairly parallel, but varying the distance that they come apart all the way from one side to the other. There's a barn, there's a door down here. I would take it, it would probably be a door for putting hay in and out of the barn. This is all concrete, which is fairly level across there, so we're not going to muck around with that too much. We have a fence line. If we put the picture back up here, you'll see there's a fence line that kind of comes all the way along here. I'm going to put these in just a single line for now, and I'm going to think about the angle that these are going off into, and I'm going to put them in here, just one single line. For each of them, just like that, and there's a little line that's going to connect them, just like that. And I'm going to come back here and just going to make a little squiggly half kind of circle thing for the top of each post, and then I'm going to put in the other side. Just a double line sort of squiggly thing along there. Just like that. This is all ditch, so we need to allude to that. It comes down and then it comes back up and it goes across the road like that. Comes down, back up, and then across the road. This is all field over here. We're going to just put this in. Some nice long hatching all the way across there. Same here. Put some hatching kind of coming off the side of the road. This. And then this is also gravelly, so I'm going to put a little bit of stippling in this area of the road, top to bottom here. Of course, I'm doing this fairly quick for YouTube, so you could spend a lot more time and do it a lot neater than I am here for sure. All right, it's not turning out too bad at all. All right. Okay, let's think about the darkness on the inside of each one of these. So each one of these we're going to hatch like that. Okay, that's not too bad. And then we're going to go back across this and we're going to cross hatch it to make it even darker. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, that's not turning out too bad at all there. I'm going to put in a little bit more hatching for these trees. Of course, these trees are curved, so I'm going to allude to that by putting in some curved hatching. And our curved hatching will give the viewer the idea that these are not linear globs, that these are actually trees that are in the background here. So remember, curved hatching makes your subject look rounded, and flat, straight hatching makes your object look flat. Okay? And vary the angle that the hatching is going on. Alright. Very nice. Okay. This little bit of tree along, little bit of a tree line along here. We're also going to curve that hatching, and we're going to curve this hatching back in here also. Okay, that's not too bad. This is a road, this is the ditch, this is all going to be, you know, it's all barnyard, so it's kind of a muddy, mucky mess. I'm going to put in some little bit of just grass-like thing. I'm just flicking, lifting, flicking. Just like that, not too bad at all. Okay, so this is all road, this is all barnyard. These are my telephone poles. The left side of all of this is in shade or shadow, so I'm going to just put a little bit more like that. This here is all in shadow, as is this. I'm going to put in these telephone lines now, and I'm going to do this as one continuous line going from all the way from here to here to here. So I think I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go to here to here. There's 3. From here to here to here. From here to here to here. That's it. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm pretty satisfied with this as a drawing, just as the way that this has just come out just like this. But I'm going to, of course, you know, I'm the guy who's always trying to do something different, so I'm going to do an ink wash on this. So the next video is going to be me doing an ink wash on this. So I hope you learned something from this. I hope you were able to figure something out about the way it is that I draw, or the way that it is that we set up a drawing that we're going to then do an ink wash to. If you've learned anything, please give me a like. If you're currently a subscriber, I thank you very much. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot, and come to the next video and we'll put an ink wash on this. Thanks a lot. I guess I'm going to do a little bit more stippling on here for this to be barn board. Just gonna just stipple around there a little bit. It's not too bad at all. Put a little bit more cross hatching in here, more cross hatching in here. Some more cross hatching down here.